The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, welcome to another CW webinar. I'm Wanderson and me and my team are here to bring you the main highlights of the second quarter 2021 trade prices report update. For today's presentation, I would like to introduce myself, Wanderson Teixeira, Junior Business Analyst at CDW Group, as well as Vasco Teixeira, the lead analyst of this report, both of us based here in Portugal. On today's agenda, we will start with an introduction of our company, what it is that we do, what we have to offer, and of course, share the main highlights of the new report update. So CDW Group is present across three distinct verticals, advisory, research, and media. Under the advisory, CDW works with major consultancies and leading institutions, including the World Bank and funds and projects. We also provide consulting and advisory expertise on a diverse product portfolio. For example, one of the most recent sample of advisory projects that has been provided by CDW Group includes a complete business process analysis for an online art gallery website, a detailed feasibility study for the Middle Eastern petrochemical company that was looking to manufacture a specific chemical compound, and more recently, an advisory engagement for a defense contractor who was searching to enter into the secondary explosive manufacturing. In terms of research, under this umbrella, CW focused on cement demand globally, as well as detailed industry country reports. We also provide historical and forecasts for markets in a variety of products, including one of our main products, which is the VFR, Volume Forecast Report, and TPR, Trade Prices Report, which we are going to discuss today. We also provide commodity price assessments for cement, clinker, as well as petcoke and coal. Last but not least, under the media umbrella, you can have online access to our vast database. You can also subscribe to newsletters for topics of interest, including cement, building materials, paper and pulp, petcoke. We also have some industry-specific meetings, which, of course, because of the COVID, are as of now happening online. But as soon as possible, we'll be back to be in person. So without further ado, let us dive into today's presentation, CDW Research Second Quarter 2021 Update of the Trade Prices Report. As mentioned, this is a quarterly report focused on providing a comprehensive quantitative and qualitative analysis on the trade of cementitious products. Of course, as always, it is our endeavor to continue to expand our coverage of cement trade prices, especially in Africa. Our statistical model used for this report is just updated twice a year. The first update happens in the second quarter, and then we have our second update in the fourth quarter. In terms of global coverage, this report covers approximately 75% of total global trade for these products. But of course, other details regarding individual or corporate subscriptions to this specific report are available in the link in this page. While coverage for most regions is comprehensive in the sense that at least one or more factors are tracked, increasing coverage of major African markets, as I've mentioned before, continues to be one of our major focus. This is hampered by the lack of consistent official data sources, but we are always trying to have a further coverage of those regions. Now, to start off, we're going to present an overview of the global economic outlook for 2021, which is filled with more optimism. So, after a sharp contraction last year, the global economy is projected to see a growth of 6% in 2021. This is, of course, reflected by the vaccination rollout and fiscal support in a few large economies. Even though the global economy is expected to see this recovery this year, many emerging and developing markets continue to struggle with the pandemic and its repercussion. We are seeing here a new wave of COVID cases for quite a while now. So this, of course, hampers any economic prospect that we have so far. But besides that, among major economies, the US is expected to see one of the greatest rebounds this year with a growth of 6.8%. This is mostly due to the large-scale fiscal support and easing of restrictions related to the pandemic and also the vaccine rollout. In China, we see a rebound of 8.5% this year, also reflecting higher demand and in emerging markets and developed economies, we see an economic growth of 6%. This is expected to be supported not only by higher demand, but also elevated commodity prices. But nevertheless, recovery in many economies is still being held back. This is due to a resurgence of COVID-19 cases. As I mentioned, we have here a third new wave, which is affecting heavily a lot of countries. And also we have the lagging in vaccination progress, which only deepens this scenario. For next year, however, the output in all regions is expected to remain below the pre-pandemic projections, having a slight better performance. However, this will be dragged down by the pandemic and its consequences, including higher debt loads and damage to potential drivers for higher demand. In terms of the Baltic Exchange Main Sea Freight Index, which tracks rates for ships carrying dry bulk commodities, as of July 28th, fell to 3,154 points, led by weaker demand for Panamax and Capesize vessels. In the first half of the year, we have seen a strong recovery in the main freight index. Nevertheless, in the past couple of weeks, slowing Chinese demand for construction and manufacturing material has been leading to a decline in freight rates. However, in the near future, iron ore trade from Brazil to China is expected to ramp up, and global coal inventory levels are also expected to be restocked, resulting in a stronger Capesize rates. Now, I would like to pass the presentation to my colleague Vasco Teixeira. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Anderson, and welcome again, everybody. Now I'll be providing some insights on the current market situation, but of course the report includes a much more detailed analysis on what is happening and what to expect in the next quarter for both Xworks and retail prices. So, to begin with, almost all regions are expected to show an Xworks price increase in the second quarter of 2021, with South Asia being the region with the biggest price increase in the quarter. India's Xworks prices are expected to witness an increase of more than 5% quarter on quarter as a consequence of the robust growth in construction activities in the first quarter of the year. Added to this, in South Asia, manufacturers continue to face production cost increases, therefore putting pressures on these prices. Moving on to Sub-Saharan Africa, we expect prices to see a robust increase, boosted by the South African prices increase. In South America, the Brazilian cement industry continued to witness a positive performance in the first quarter of 2021, which led to an increase in Xworks prices. The scenario for the coming months is quite uncertain, as the federal government has made some budget cuts, mainly in infrastructure and housing programs like the House Green Yellow. Added to this, there is also macroeconomic instability, currency devaluation, inflation, rising unemployment, slow pace of vaccination, and loss of payroll. Now, when we talk about Western Europe, the region is expected to see a decline of almost 1% in terms of Xworks prices in the second quarter of 2021, affected by Germany prices declining. Meanwhile, in France and Germany, we are expected to see a slight increase of Xworks prices in the second quarter, as the construction sector in these two economies continues to show resilience in the first months of the year. Now, jumping right into it, on this slide, we are presenting cement Xworks price variation on a yearly basis, comparing the second quarter of 2021 to the second quarter of 2020. And we can see that on a yearly basis, Xworks price variations are expected to range a decrease of 9% in Asia-Pacific region to an increase of more than 12% in the Mediterranean basin. In China, although Xworks prices are expected to both decline on a yearly and quarterly basis, mostly due to the arrival of summer and rainy seasons, the cement sector is being affected by multiple factors, including the shift in production, which has become normal. Added to this, there is also the current carbon peak and the carbon neutral background, which have been also posing challenges to this sector. In Russia, cement Xworks prices are estimated to register a yearly decrease of 4% in the second quarter of the year, even though on a quarterly basis, the prices are expected to see an increase of almost 0.5%. The Russian construction sector witnessed a recovery in the first quarter of the year, with the volume of construction works from January to April witnessing a growth of 4.1% year-on-year. Added to this, several infrastructure facilities for the development of the country are being built at an intensive pace. Moving on to Europe. In France, cement Xworks prices are estimated to have a yearly increase of more than 14%. And in the French construction sector, will continue to show resilience in the first months of the year, witnessing an increase in building permits and housing starts, which saw a rise of between 1 and 3% on a quarterly basis. In terms of the United States, in the second quarter of 2021, the Xworks prices of cement are forecasted to increase almost 3% year-on-year. In April, the value of construction put in place in the United States increased 0.2% compared to the previous months, while increasing 9.8% comparing to the same period last year. In addition, the number of building permits increased by 60.9% year-on-year, while declining 0.3% on a monthly basis in April. In order to better understand the trade prices dynamics, before jump into the trade study, I would like to start by providing some country-level insights when it comes to the cement demand. In Morocco, cement demand increased year to date by 25% in May, showing an impressive growth. And on a monthly basis, there was a rise of 68% to 0.9 million tons. On the other hand, markets that are showing growth include Peru, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia. When it comes to Peru, cement sales increased, showing a robust growth of 89% in the first 4 months of the year when compared to the same period of last year. On the back of a resumption of public and private works, as well as self-construction after the quarantine restriction related to the pandemic. In terms of cement sales in Brazil, these increased almost 20% year to date in May and reached 25.9 million tons, according to the National Union of the Cement Industry. The sector maintained an upward trend compared to the low base registered in the same period last year due to the pandemic. Added to this, real estate works and residential and commercial renovations continue to drive cement demand in the country. Lastly, in Saudi Arabia, sales of cement in May increased more than 17% year to date, and cement sales are expected to continue to increase in the next couple of months as the support from housing projects continues. To provide a context of the global market scenario, I will now present a volume analysis of trade in cementitious products in the first quarter of 2021. So globally, gray cement volumes are likely to see a decrease of more than 9% quarter on quarter. And in the Asia Pacific, Japan and Mediterranean basins were the regions that reported the biggest export volumes during the quarter. Turkey, on the other hand, remains the largest exporter of gray and white cement in the first quarter of 2021. Now focusing on clinker, more than 30% of Vietnam's exports were directed to South Africa and the United States during the first quarter of the year, and Japan remained the biggest slag exporter with a share of more than 42% of the total exports, followed by India and Germany. Now, we want to talk about the FOB average prices during the first quarter of 2021 on a quarter-to-quarter basis. We can see that North-South America was the region with the biggest price drop of more than 3%, reaching around $76 per ton, while Eastern Europe prices increased around 10% quarter on quarter. While on a yearly basis, Western Europe FOB prices increased a little bit more than 6%. The region represented 11% of the total traded volume during the quarter. In the second quarter, gray cement prices are expected to witness a small decline compared to the first quarter of 2021, while clinker prices are set to have an increase of more than 1% in the same period. Lastly, Asia Pacific and the Mediterranean basin are likely to continue to be on the top two major regions to export gray cement during the second quarter of 2021. Now, we provide an overview of gray cement FOB price changes between our estimation of prices in the second quarter and our forecast for the third quarter of 2021. And we can see that while the Mediterranean basin and Asia Pacific and Japan prices are forecast to remain stable, South America and Western Europe are expected to see a decline of more than 2%, and Scandinavia and Baltics region, as well as the Eastern Europe region, are expected to see a price decline of 1%. While in South America, prices are expected to reach more than $71 per ton, and in Sub-Saharan Africa, FOB prices are set to reach $77 per ton in the third quarter of 2021. All of the regions will likely to see an increase, with China witnessing the biggest increase of FOB prices. And to give you an idea, in the Middle East area is forecasted to see a price increase of around $42 per ton, and the Sub-Saharan Africa region is expected to see a FOB price increase of $77 per ton in the third quarter of 2021. Now, to end the presentation, I would like to leave you with the closing remarks for our report. And please note that we focus on the highlights of this update, and more detailed information you can find available on our report. Please do not hesitate to contact us so we can help you. So the closing remarks are that cement prices are expected to decline, while clinker prices are showing an increase in the second quarter of 2021. Turkey remained the largest exporter of gray and white cement, while Vietnam became the largest trader of clinker. And on the other hand, Japan remained the largest exporter of slag. In the second quarter of 2020, on a yearly basis, Xworks prices showed a wide regional variations within the Mediterranean basin, showing a robust growth. And the CW index price for gray cement is expected to remain stable in the Mediterranean basin and the Asia Pacific Japan regions, while improving in key regions, including the Middle East. So to conclude this presentation, I would like to thank you for joining, for your time and your attention, and see you in your next webinar.